The last thing I thought, ironically, was multiple sclerosis. Because this wasn't like my dad. My dad has had it for so long. It affects his entire right side, and it took so long to in a progression to get where he's at. In a few months, I'm incapacitated. It didn't make sense that would be MS. But I've learned more about this disease in the last 5 years than I have my entire life knowing my dad with it. It's very different for each one of us. Multiple sclerosis literally means many scars. And it affects our central nervous system. And because it affects different places at different times and intensities, we have different symptoms. And mine was a very strong onset and very dramatic. But if you don't believe in miracles, I hope you believe in one today, because you are living in one. Because I've been on my feet for 4 years and a week since my wedding day. I still have MS, but MS does not have me. I believe that. I work very closely with my neurologist to find the right treatments, the right things that are going to work well for me. And so far, so good. And I know that there's some amazing improvements still to be had, great things coming out. And it's just an exciting time. It seems crazy, but MS is one of the greatest things that's ever happened to me. You know, I'm just a young guy, I'm only 18. I got a lot more to learn. But that day I'll never forget. It was one of the greatest days of my life. Mostly because of the strength of this beautiful girl of mine and what she was able to do. When I proposed to her pretty much from my wheelchair, by some miracle reason she said yes. And she got a little bit of slack. And I don't blame the people around her that cared for her. But some of them would say, wait a minute, you're marrying a Mormon, that's crazy. But you're going to marry a crippled Mormon? A disabled Mormon, really? You're nuts. She said yes, in sickness and health. She's been there as a rock. That support is huge. That same support I feel in this very room. We're all here for the same cause. We are a family, and we're here fighting to erase this terrible disease. I believe that we're going to do it very soon. I really do. I have that hope. So I just, without taking too much time, I really want to hear what these guys have to say, but I want to share a few things with you that I believe, and then if you'll let me, I'd like to sing a song. But one of my favorite quotes of all times is from a guy, an author. His name's Dr. Seuss. And Dr. Seuss says this: I've heard there are troubles of more than one kind. Some come from ahead, and some come from behind. But I've bought a big bat, and I'm ready to see. And now my troubles? Oh, they're gonna have troubles with me. I love that, because each one of us carry a bat, a weapon. And one of the biggest bats and weapons we have is right here. Everything that's happening with the race to erase MS, all the MS research that's happening, we have a force out there fighting for us. And just the fact that you're here supporting is huge. I know it's going to make huge differences. The other one is from a guy named, if you're a Bill and Ted fan, his name's Socrates. Socrates said that if all the misfortunes in the world were laid in one common heap, whence everyone must take an equal portion, most people would be content to take their own and depart. I feel the same way. I feel that no matter my circumstance, I meet people almost every single day, and whether it's MS or otherwise, my situation pales in comparison. And I feel by keeping that perspective, I try to focus like my dad on my abilities. You know, I drove a car yesterday. That was cool, because I remember when I wasn't able to. And the day that my toes went like that, for the very first time when I wanted it to. I'll never forget it. And I wish I could just give that experience to everybody, because it helped me to never ever take a single step or a heartbeat for granted, because this life is fast for every single one of us. And I think men are that they might have joy. That's why we're here. Real quickly, I wear a ring on my finger. It's another acronym. It's a family motto. It's a scriptural reference. ETTE, endure to the end. For me, that's huge. It's a little bit big, endure to the end, you know? So I changed it for me, the way that I can live it. Endure to the end of the day. If I can do that, I got tomorrow. I'm not perfect. make a lot of mistakes, but I try to do my best, especially when it comes to what I'm doing with my journey with multiple sclerosis. I also believe that people don't get ahead in life because they aim too high and they miss their goal. But it's because they aim too low and they hit. Here at the race, I know we're aiming extremely high. And we don't know where we're actually going to hit, but I know we're going to hit something huge. And we are. I think we're progressing each and every single day. I believe through trials, through hardships, through difficulties, through tests, we gain testimony. The root of the word, if we choose to let it. I believe we're not just physical beings, human beings, that occasionally have spiritual experiences. My belief is that we are very much spiritual beings, and we're having a very physical experience, all of us. The last thing I want to share with you is something I'll never forget when I was sitting in my wheelchair. And I was at my parents' house, and I was watching my little brother. He was on the floor with his son, and they were wrestling. And my wife and I were engaged. And I thought to myself something that day that I had a lot of pity, self-pity. And I thought to myself, why? Why me? I don't think I'm ever going to have that. I learned that I'm not allowed to ask myself that question ever again in my life. Why did this happen to me? Unless I ask the same question for every moment of happiness and joy that comes into my life. And every time I see my beautiful wife, my daughter now, I think the same question. Why did that happen to me? That makes all the difference, you know. And despite the fact, I don't know what the future holds for me. I don't know if something may happen, if I go back to the wheelchair, whatever. I hope I can keep enduring and stay tough and stay strong and follow my dad's example and those of so many others to just keep that perspective, because my glass isn't half full. I know it's just overflowing. Just to be able to live in the greatest nation on earth, have the freedoms we have. That alone, just trying to shift that perspective. And again, I have a lot to learn. I'm a young guy. But